With the last explosions at the Semipalatinsk nuclear test site, the age of total domination of arms has gone down forever into the annals of the history of mankind. In 1991, the territory of Kazakhstan held a huge arsenal of weapons of mass destruction that exceeded the stockpiles of the United Kingdom, France, and China combined. In those early days of Kazakhstan's independence, shrouded in uncertainty and turmoil, the adherents of non-peaceful Atom strongly urged the young republic to keep and maintain that deadly arsenal. However, contrary to their urgings and despite the enormous difficulties of those days, the president of Kazakhstan made a choice in favor of the good, development, peace, and nonviolence. For the first time in world history, a state voluntarily renounced the weapons of destructive force in the name of security on the planet. This decision, no doubt, has changed the course of modern history, forever defining Kazakhstan as the epicenter of peace. The Kazakh leader's aspirations for a nuclear weapons-free world found support on the other side of the globe. During his first official visit to the United States in May 1992, President Nursultan Nazarbayev and President George Herbert Walker Bush reached an agreement on Kazakhstan's nuclear disarmament with financial support from the United States. For this purpose, two U.S. senators, Sam Nunn and Richard Lugar, had persuaded the U.S. Congress to make an unprecedented decision. The United States made a voluntary commitment to allocate funds for the elimination and ensuring the security of nuclear weapons of the former adversary in the Cold War. Kazakhstan's voluntary renunciation of its nuclear weapons heritage predetermined the country's accession to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty and the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. Firmly committed to nuclear disarmament, Kazakhstan signed the Lisbon Protocol in 1992, which confirmed its non-nuclear weapons status. In 1994, the Republic joined the International Atomic Energy Agency. In the same year, a top-secret joint operation, Project Sapphire, took place in the country, where 581 kilograms of highly enriched uranium were transported from Kazakhstan to the United States. The hope for global peace, tranquility, and comfort that people in the West had pinned on the collapse of the Soviet Union has turned into a disappointment. The world now faces new challenges, most importantly the threat of international terrorism and religious extremism. Kazakhstan, which began building an exclusively peace-loving nation, and which laid the principles of mutual trust in the foundation of its foreign policy, strongly condemned new acts of aggression. The September 11th terrorist attack struck into the hearts of every citizen of Kazakhstan. Literally on the same day, President Nursultan Nazarbayev visited the U.S. Embassy in Astana to express support. And 3 months later, he met President George W. Bush. They issued a joint declaration on cooperation which clearly indicated their intention to strengthen the long-term strategic partnership between the two countries, including in the sphere of global security. The search for a universal formula to ensure and maintain peace has become the world's most urgent need. Kazakhstan has developed its own doctrine seeking to strengthen collective responsibility for security in the world. Kazakhstan's president has repeatedly stressed that ensuring global stability cannot be the prerogative of individual powerful countries, and that joint efforts of all states are needed, regardless of their size or economic status. Memoranda of understanding and cooperation between defense ministries have become a basis for relations between Kazakhstan and the U.S. in the sphere of security. Cooperation is developing in the framework of NATO's Partnership for Peace program and the Euro-Atlantic Partnership Council. Kazakhstan has made an invaluable contribution to the rehabilitation of Afghanistan, including by providing transit corridors. These days, global security is in crisis. A number of states and extremist organizations seek to acquire nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction. This poses a real threat. Lack of an effective mechanism for imposing sanctions at the highest international level on countries that violate the non-proliferation regimes has been another problem. That is why the example of Kazakhstan is particularly relevant, as it has made a unique contribution to strengthening global security. All these years, Kazakhstan has sent a straightforward message to mankind. The world, just like an atom, is indivisible. Leaders of countries of all political stripes have repeatedly recognized the wisdom and political foresight of President Nazarbayev, as well as the clearly defined foreign policy course of Kazakhstan.
20 years ago, Kazakhstan made a decision not to have nuclear weapons. And not only has that led to growth and prosperity in his own country, but he has been a model in efforts around the world to eliminate nuclear materials that could fall into the wrong hands. So I very much appreciate his leadership.
Certainly, relations between Kazakhstan and the United States go far beyond issues of global and regional security. When President Nazarbayev first visited Washington in 1992, he and the first President Bush laid a solid foundation for economic and trade cooperation based on the principles of mutual respect, pragmatism, and closeness of approaches to solving key economic issues. The oil industry took center stage in developing economic ties. The rapidly growing mining industry of Kazakhstan has remained a highly attractive destination for U.S. investments. One of the first companies to start business in Kazakhstan was the American company Chevron. Investments flowed into Kazakhstan from other leading U.S. oil companies. Thanks to the active participation of American capital, Kazakhstan has not only managed to raise its oil industry to a qualitatively new level, but also to become one of the leading energy exporters in the world.
This president has earned the respect of America for what he has done at home in Kazakhstan. He took this openness, he has encouraged reform at home, he has encouraged private investment, and the standard of living of the people of Kazakhstan is going up.
Today, U.S. investments in Kazakhstan are steadily growing, making the U.S. a leading investor. $20 billion of U.S. investment has poured in over the past 20 years. Official Washington and the U.S. business community recognize the attractiveness of the investment climate in Kazakhstan, including the predictability investment policy and the stability of contracts. This has been repeatedly confirmed during meetings in Astana and Washington, including during the visit of the President of Kazakhstan to the United States in 2006, when the two leaders signed a joint statement. The document identified the prospects of a Kazakhstan-U.S. strategic partnership. Negotiations at the top level have speeded up Kazakhstan's accession to the WTO, a major goal for Astana. In addition, they expanded the range of economic cooperation between the two countries. U.S. companies successfully realized their potential in communications, transport, mining, processing, the chemical industry, machinery, and tourism. There is a growing interest in expanding the participation of American business in agriculture. Cooperation in the field of communications and information technologies holds many prospects. U.S. companies are coming to Kazakhstan with advanced technologies and the latest methods of management. All of this has been actively embraced by Kazakh colleagues and has allowed the creation of a number of joint business projects. The dynamics of diversified Kazakh-American cooperation has allowed the country to successfully implement the Balashak program established by the President of Kazakhstan. This is a unique project that sends Kazakh students to study at the best universities in the world. Most Balashak students go to the United States. Eminent American scientists and teachers have made the new Nazarbayev University in Astana a striking success. It's already transforming quality higher education and training a new generation of professionals and leaders for Kazakhstan as a platform for testing innovation and new models of education. The United States was among the first countries to recognize Kazakhstan's independence and the first nation to establish diplomatic relations with it in December 1991. Ever since then, relations between the two countries have been largely based on the close and warm personal relations between the heads of state. In 1994, during the visit of President Nursultan Nazarbayev to Washington, a basic document, the Charter on Democratic Partnership, was signed. In 20 years, the Republic has gone from having a completely ideologically censored mindset to free public consciousness. People stopped thinking in stereotypes and began feeling they were full members of an open society, advancing toward the establishment and development of democratic values and institutions. Democratic changes have always been welcomed in the White House. Regardless of who occupies the Oval Office, Republicans or Democrats, Kazakhstan's leader has enjoyed a relationship of trust with all of them. In 2010, Kazakhstan chaired the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. This became an important milestone in the democratic development of the nation. During its chairmanship, the country had showed a steady and efficient style of work as a political manager. Kazakhstan was able to shake up the organization, to revive the debate on the strengthening of its institutions. In implementing its mandate, Astana consistently followed the four principles of trust, transparency, tradition, and tolerance declared by the President of Kazakhstan. The main result of Kazakhstan's chairmanship was a historic OSCE summit which adopted the Astana Declaration. The OSCE summit was a great achievement for the whole organization, which had not held such top-level meetings before the summit for 11 years and which was experiencing difficult times. The success of the summit and the positive outcome of Astana's chairmanship of the OSCE, which made a worthy contribution to the strengthening of regional and global security and cooperation, were significantly due to the support of partners like the U.S. and other participating states.
Мы собрались в Астане во имя торжества здравого смысла.
We have gathered in Astana to celebrate the sound idea of continuing to move together towards a secure future for our nations. We are seeing the start today in Astana of a Euro-Atlantic and Eurasian community of common and indivisible security. This summit is taking place for the first time in a new country that gained its independence, to a large extent thanks to the provisions and principles of the Helsinki Final Act.
Хельсинского заключительного акта.
Today, Kazakhstan is an economically strong and dynamically developing democratic state, an equal and respected partner in the international community. The 20 years of partnership between Kazakhstan and the United States for security, development, and prosperity have occurred through dozens of meetings at the highest level, hundreds of business visits, thousands of pages of joint agreements, and a myriad of other steps. The two countries are on different continents and hemispheres. They are in an ocean apart, but they are brought together by the political aspirations of their leaders, joined by the invisible threads of friendship between ordinary people, the mutual interest and penetration of culture, and the historical attraction between the East and West. Over 20 years, a solid foundation for further development of this strong partnership has been created. That is why the leaders and peoples of both countries look forward to the future with confidence.